So as you can hear in the background, they're doing fire inspections for the last 3 days in our apartment complex. And so they're literally testing everyone's fire alarms. And right now they're doing the building across the street. So hopefully they get ours done soon so that I'm not just sitting around the entire time before work anticipating them coming in at any time. Like I think literally the first day they came after I already left for work, but before Ed came home at some point. And so on Tuesday, they just came in and swapped out the fire extinguisher in the kitchen with fresh ones. Yesterday, they had like 6 people come in about halfway through the morning, and had one guy was checking on the AC, which apparently has a leak in there. We're supposed to come back later yesterday to fix it, but they didn't, so I guess they'll be coming by today. There was also someone from the leasing office who was doing like a checklist, as well as like 3 people who were looking at like smoke alarms and whatnot. And then today, hopefully they'll come back to fix whatever's wrong with the AC, but now they're doing like a proper check of the strobes, which is why there's blinking lights all the way across the street for the whole building. And I cannot wait for this lovely alarm to be set off over here, especially when it's this all just me across the street. And it's been going on for a solid couple of minutes now. I'm a little curious to see just how long they're gonna set everything off for. But yeah. So while they're setting things off across the street before they finish up, I should probably at least get properly dressed for the day so that I'm like decent-ish when they get here. Because I'll probably have to be in the bedroom or whatever when that comes. And then we'll figure out what else we're gonna do before work. Ace is being his usual weird self. He always lays out his legs like that. I've never seen any other cat lay like that. Ace. Weirdo. And a loon. Alright, time to go get dressed and decent and whatnot. So another obnoxious thing I meant to mention about is night shifts are the worst right now because parking is a piece of crap no matter where I'm at all day, because at work the reserved parking spots are always full, so I always have to park super far away, like 90% of the time. But then even when I get home, because we have so many residents, there's no space to park near my building. So half the time anymore, I end up having to park in front of the next building over, because literally both sides were full the entire way across, and that was the closest spot available. Which doesn't seem so bad from this window, but like this is literally the far end of the building, so I am technically parked in front of the next door building. Fun times. Anyway, they already had like one brief pause, like right after I finished the last video in the alarms before they came back on, so I'm going to try and get dressed super fast here. Hopefully don't miss things. The question is, what do we wear today? I don't know. I guess we could. Yeah. Let's do this. No, it stopped. You best be quick then. Oh yeah, it looks like they just got there. That wasn't there a minute ago. Okay. I gotta hurry. We have successfully managed to get changed and ready for the day and everything prior to them coming over here. They start and stopped the alarms like once or twice more across the street, but now the maintenance cart is outside of our building, so it's gonna be starting here any moment, I'm sure. Anyway, but yeah, I was trying to at least, you know, get something recorded today a little bit because there we go. That hurt. That really hurts. Oh my god. Really, really loud. It feels like I'm being stabbed in the brain right now. Oh, no, it's worse. No, it's worse. Oh, hold on. Is that like actually it though? That's just our alarm. Dude literally ran in here. It's like, I just want to be able to see that I can hear it. Yeah. I think you can. Hopefully, that'll be the end of it. Building. Maintenance people are going back to their carts, so maybe that would be nice if we weren't tortured quite as long as these people across the street, because that sucked. Please be going. Okay, I hear some going off across in the distance, so maybe they moved along to the next building already. I don't know. I can't tell. But I'm gonna be grateful for the sounds that I had, because that was awful. It's like brain is going to bleed bad. I have no idea what was taking this building across the street like half an hour for them to keep turning on the alarms over and over, but maintenance just left the building across the street, so thankfully it was only like that 2 minutes for our building. Thank God. Now I just gotta hope for the best once they come back to do the AC leak whatever thing for us. Now I have to figure out lunch for myself and dinner for myself, because of course the cafeteria is closed for night shifts, so I have to figure something out every single day. And I'm not good with like meal planning crap. I barely can remember to be like, oh yeah, let me thaw out that meat for tomorrow so I can cook something. Could do French bread. like yesterday. And mac and cheese for dinner. I think that's what I might do. Like just under 2 hours before I gotta go to work. So other things that have been going on. I have been working on editing the last couple of weeks here and there when I can. Hasn't been every day like I originally was hoping for, but not too bad overall. I'm trying to at least get like one complete video done each night when I get home from work, whether it includes multiple days or whatever. Just at least try and edit and render one video a night at the very least, because there was a lot of days that I did end up skipping. There's a lot of days that don't have much, so they can be combined. I know like the majority of last fall was covered with just like 1 or 2 videos for like an entire month of footage, and it was ridiculous. So things have been slightly better this year, but still work in progress. But that does remind me, with the majority of the stuff that I was kind of going over in the vlogs that I have been editing the last couple of days, was when I started doing videos while I was driving home from Macon to Warner Robins every day from work, even though now we live in Macon. So the first couple of days that I was videotaping and vlogging for those drives home, I was doing a lot of ranting about books and everything, and talking about how I was just starting out with my reading challenge that I gave myself for this year to try and get back into reading, because I was missing it so much and was doing so horribly at actually keeping up with reading on a regular basis, taking forever to get through books because I would just get distracted on my phone all the time or just not think about it and whatever. But I've actually been doing really good. I have been through a bunch of books already so far this year. I don't know if I've actually covered much of it yet in videos yet, since I initially started looking into everything, because I did take a long break again from videoing. But let's see if we actually get, I'm not sure if I really have gone over my stuff properly. So near the end of last year, I made some preparations that helped a lot with my whole reading challenge situation, and my ridiculous amount of book hoarding that I've been doing. Like, honestly, small tangent here, but like when I moved here from Marietta, I had the 2 bookshelves. I had this yellow one, and then I had the brown one way down there. It was the only 2 that I brought with me. And when I first laid everything out, we had, this bookshelf was primarily my books, with a few on one of the shelves in the brown one. The rest was all Ed's books and his video games. And that's basically what we had, but I quickly outgrew those 2 bookshelves, because every time I go to Marietta, just about, I go to Goodwill with my family and we go book hoarding. And there was also the library book sale that happened this spring that I went to and hoarded a bunch of books from, like 20 books just in that one trip. And so just in the last, like, we just got this, one of the bookshelves. I have 2 new bookshelves, which are the white Billy ones from IKEA, the ones in the middle here, these 2. We got the first one back last fall/winter, like November, December-ish, and already here we are, like when we moved to this apartment, I got the second one. Even though I've been sitting with just the other 2 bookshelves for years. So as you can see, my book collection has just kind of exploded over the last like year and a half. And still being ridiculous, still getting books all the time because I have a problem, but not really. I don't care to fix it. So anyway, going back to challenge for myself. I initially started out where I wanted to do at least 12 books. I figured 1 a month is easy enough for me to just get back into things and go from there. That way I'm not like rushed into getting a whole bunch done all at once. Because usually I'm pretty quick about reading stuff. It's just with the scheduling and whatnot, I wasn't quite sure how it was gonna go. But I have actually surpassed my 12 book limit. I hit a while back actually. I think I'm on like book 18 of this year, and hoping to try and get to 30 by the end of the month now. I'm sorry, by the end of the year. And so the couple of things that I got last fall to help me out with this before I even like fully realized what I was going to do is I got this book journal from Amazon, which I immediately fell in love with because it is fabulous and has like everything in there. So many like book journals and stuff have all these things, like so much space for you to like write a mini essay on every book and everything, ask you all these questions about all these different things about each book, and it's just like I don't want to have like do a book report every time I read a book, but I do want to like keep track of things. So this was kind of like the perfect compromise where it literally just asked like a couple of basic facts, like when it was published, when you read it, general rating, and then just notes, what makes you want to read about or learn about, and just general notes. No specific requirements there for each book, but for those times when you do want a little bit of extra stuff, like every 5 pages in or so, it'll have like a general activity for books as a whole, whether it's ones you're reading or ones you have read, just different things going on. For example, this one here, where you fill in the brain with different authors that have influenced you over the years. And let's see if I can find another one. This one, they have a bunch of these reading trees where you write which book made you want to read other books by the same author or books by different authors, so you can kind of keep track of there. It is, been through a few, I'll go over that in more detail. Book superlatives, like which characters you'd most want to be friends with, which ones you wouldn't want to be enemies with, the best fill-ins and like different things, the best settings, all of that. There's this one which is just a bunch of random quotes from books, and in the back it has like so many lists of all the award winner or years and years for different book awards. Like they've got like Oprah's Book Club in here. They have National Book Critics Circle Award for fiction. Let's see, Pulitzer Prize, and like the Pulitzer Prize goes all the way back to 1948, showing all the winners there. And then it gives you a couple of pages to write your own personal to-read list to go with, other than just those like classics and award winners. So you have your own personal list to go through, which is what I definitely needed to keep track of. And places to write, like if you've listened to authors speak in public, and write notes about that. There's a spot for books that you've borrowed or lent out to people, and a place for you to write the addresses for the main places you like to get your books from. And so all of that is in there, and of course with the pages that show like borrowing and lending books, goes me into the other thing that I got, which was kind of included in my vlogs, where I have my own personal library pocket kit, also from Amazon, which I am obsessed with, and I have officially put into all of my books so far, and basically just keeping track of who you lend things. I should probably put it Anyway, so personal library kit, which can't even think. Keep track of the books that I lend out, showing who borrowed it, when it was finished, and whatnot. And while technically I don't really lend out books a whole lot because I'm a hermit and that's just what we do, Nikki and I were just like, it would be worth it just to have it, just to keep track of all the times you read your own books and see when you read it over the years. So I got it for both the purposes there, and to go alongside that, I even got myself the personalized stamp here, which I'll have in the cover slightly, which has my name, my phone number, which basically never changes, and at the bottom it says, read it, love it, return it. And I found that design for a few like book stamping stuff, but I found one that was customizable that was originally like a wedding invite sort of thing, like address stamp, and I just customized it there so that would work. And so between those, I have everything set up here. So the books that I've actually gone through, number one, I finished The Lost Worlds from the Jurassic Park series at the beginning of the year. I started the end of November and went through training, like licensing class and some of training with it, and managed to finish it just after the new year. I then went on to finish out the Insurgent series that I hadn't finished, which at the time when I was previously reading them, when the movies were first coming out, and that's kind of where I was at when I was previously recording and talking about things that I was editing the other night. I was in the middle of finishing Insurgent, and then of course went on to Allegiant. And they're setting off the alarms again across the streets. What's the other side? So I don't see anything here, so maybe the building's on that side that we're working on now, because nothing seems to be strobing over there. But anyway, as long as they don't come back here, we're good. So yeah, did Insurgent and Allegiance, so that's 3. Then I did the Giver book series, so I have the Giver, Gathering Blue, Messenger, and Sun, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 8 was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in French. At that point I was in transition at work, so that was interesting, and that took a while because A, it's in French, and B, because we were in transition, they were then going through a limit of what we were allowed to do between the calls at work when things were slow. Previously they were letting us read and everything, and at that point they're like, we need you guys to like read through the resources and everything for how you handle different calls, so that while you guys are here with the extra help, you're looking at everything you can. So that took a little bit longer that way. So that was 8. 9 was My Life in France by Julia Child. And then 10 was Julie and Julia, because I was on a French kick at that point. And so that's how I decided to go from there. And 11 was Every Day by David Levithan, because I remembered seeing the trailer in the theater for the movie, and I thought it was really interesting having the different twist on it, so I managed to grab myself a copy off Amazon and read through that. This one should be book number 12 and 13, which was the first 4 books in the Vampire Diaries series, because I've been meaning to reread the series for a while after seeing the show, seeing just where the diverging storylines went. And it was interesting seeing how much that I didn't actually remember from when I previously read the books, since I had borrowed them from my friend Rebecca in school. So I went through those, but then kind of decided against reading the remainder of like the extra sets of books in the series, which are kind of like almost spin-offs sort of from what I've read. So just kind of left off at the first 4 books there. That's 12 and 13. And then 14 was Choose Your Own Autobiography by Neil Patrick Harris, which I happened to stumble upon on a trip to Second and Charles with my mom this summer, and it was like $6, but I loved it. Everything was set up like a Choose Your Own Adventure book, and just the fact that it was Neil Patrick Harris, it was such a great fit and such a great read and so much fun to go through, so that was a good pick. And now I've lent that out to Nikki to read through. They've been crazy with moving and stuff because all of my family's been moving around everywhere this summer, so that's its own craziness. At least it's a 15, I believe, where I finally finished the sequel to If I Stay, which is called Where She Went by Gail Forman, because I have put off finishing that book forever. I started reading the sequel when I first heard about the series, when I saw the movie, and then bought the 2 books, but never actually finished through Where She Went for some reason. Distractions, as usual. 16 through, I don't know, I finished reading the Chronicles of Narnia finally, after having sat through it and left it half read back in high school, where I finished. It took me forever to get through Horse and His Boy and left off in the middle of Prince Caspian. So I finally finished there. So 16 was Prince Caspian, which I finally read through. 17 was Voyage of the Dawn Treader. 18 was The Silver Chair. And then 19 was The Last Battle. So I'm actually way further than I thought. Goodreads is kind of throwing me off because the all-in-one books that I have kind of factor differently. So book 20 was The Circle by Dave Eggers, because I loved the movie and managed to find a copy of the book at the local bookstore here, Gottwall's, which I'm also obsessed with, because the Goodwills down here are not that great. So it's kind of like my best book source in the area, and thankfully it is right down the street from here. So then I finished The Circle, and then I got back to the Love and Thump series, and so now I finished the first book, The Gateway to Fu, a couple weeks ago, and then now I'm working on the second book in the series because there are 5, so I'm actually in the middle of book 22 for this year, which is Love and Thumps and the Whispered Secret. So that's where I am with things, and as you can tell, I'm just about finished with it. I have like less than 100 pages left, so I might be able to finish that today. I was kind of thinking I would finish it yesterday, but I forgot to bring the next book with me to work, and then I've been trying to work on kind of clearing out my emails and stuff, because I have just been collecting everything in my work email since I started working there almost a year ago, so I've been working on reorganizing that the last couple of days between phone calls. So I hopefully will have that finished today and move on to book number 23 later today, which would be the 3rd book here. Let's see. I've got them all over here. So the 3rd book is going to be The Eyes of the Want. So that's going to be interesting to get through too. So yeah, I've been pretty psyched with getting through all of my reading and everything this year and getting back into everything, and like I've actually been keeping track of all my books and everything, and I'm like 9 near 200 books right now. It's ridiculous. I have so many books between all 3 of my books. And they're all like full. Granted, the last shelf on this one is like yearbooks and textbooks, because I also have been collecting more French textbooks too. But anyway, so that's my vlog catch-up thing of the day. I'm going to figure out lunch and set all of that up and enjoy the last bit of my time before I start getting ready for work. And yeah, it's gonna be fun times. So yeah, laters. I just got home from work and I was really wanting ice cream, and it's late at night in Macon, so I was just like, I'm gonna have to do drive-thru if I wanted to do anything at this late at night, because anyway. So I was like, I'm just gonna get a frosty. And then of course, it's like, we'll get like a small sandwich with it, whatever. Except then when I actually got to pay for my food and everything, after taking a minute, the girl starts handing me the frosty, except she goes to hand me 2 of them, and I was super confused. I'm like, what? She's like, you had 2, right? And I'm like, no, just the 1. And so she goes off to the back for a second and comes back with like keys, and I'm just saying like, oh my god, this girl's like about to refund me for like an extra frosty for like $1.50. And I'm just like, you know what, just don't even worry about it. So I got her attention for that, and so she just gave me the other frosty, gave me my card back, gave me the bag with my sandwich, and was like, I was just gonna give you back the $1.59, but whatever, the other girl just put fries in your bag for you. And I'm just like, okay. So I was charged for the 2 frosties, which is fine, but because they mistakenly did that, and they were going to go ahead and try and refund me, but they also gave me free fries. And then I was sitting here, because the last turn to come into the neighborhood was ridiculous, and ended up spilling the freaking bag, so now there's fries inside of my car that I have to freaking pick up now. But anyway, that's another thing, because when I went to pick up the bag just now to make sure like how much the damage was, I look in there, not only did these people give me free fries, they gave me double free fries. I have like a legit either a medium or large fry, and then this little baby fry box that is the one that fell completely into the door. Not even like, we have this little thing, and then we have this giant one. Like, these people, what's going on, man? Why else with a frosty and a sandwich, man? Apparently, this is happening now. Like, legit, it should have just been the sandwich and the 2 frosties they charged me for, but nah, they're just like, we're gonna give you all the food. What even? I don't know. I didn't even know there was 2 fries in here until I legit just went to pick this up before turning this on. And now I just don't even know what to think. So anyway, I just thought it was too funny, and I had to share that real quick before I go upstairs and go do work on editing for the night for a bit before I go to sleep, as per the routine as of late. So yeah, today's been interesting all around, clearly. I can get the stupid thing to go back in the bag. That'd be great. There we go. Yeah, awesome. Oh, and I did manage to finish reading the second book of Love and Thumps before work. Like, it took me until like as my alarm was going off telling me it's time to go to work to finish the book, but I managed it. So now we're starting on book 3, and yeah, book 23. Let's go. gonna be awesome. We're gonna probably fit somewhere between 25 to 30 by the end of the year at this rate. Shit. It's awesome. I'm so proud of myself. Anyway, I'm not gonna like be strange and weird out here in the dark in my car much longer. I'm just gonna go inside. So yeah, this is done now, and latest. So it turns out they weren't fries. They just straight up went for 4 for 4 and gave me nuggets. These people. But that's okay. A few nuggets are a lot easier to clean up than a bag of fries. Okay, I think we got it all.